Hello everybody, how are we doing? And here everybody comes. We've got a full house tonight. Eyes down for a full house. Who have we got? Hi Alan. Hi Andre, Brandon, Cheryl. Where's everybody coming from today? Where's everybody based? Gosh, we've got tons and tons of people here. Where are you all signing in from today?
18.
Carlisle.
How are you seeing this and I'm not seeing that? Where it's from?
Oh, it's just me.
Okay, no, that's all right. I won't.
Great. We've got Brandon from Toronto.
Wow.
And we have Hanover, Atlanta, Solihull, Florida. Amazing. Lake District. How's the weather there in the Lake District? I bet it's going to be pretty rainy. Hi, Sweden. Hi, Khaled in Argentina. This is fantastic.
Wow. Gosh, this is truly worldwide.
Michael from Rio. Oh, it's not raining in the Lake District. That's good to hear. Okay, we're just going to give it another couple of minutes for everybody to join in. Tony's in Vietnam. Hi, Tony, mate. Good to see you.
Hi, Tony.
Sweltering in Rio. I'm jealous. It's absolutely freezing here in the UK.
And wet. So we got Cumbria's rain, I think.
Yeah. We got Jason in Ottawa. Chilly in Atlanta.
Chilly in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You've got our weather. Trouble is we don't have yours.
Hey, Sabrina from Boring. England's not boring. It's cold, but it's not boring. It may not be as glamorous, I guess, as Southern California and Rio, but hey, we've got Asda. We've got so many wonderful things. We've got hordes of people Christmas shopping. Right. Amazing. So people are still going to be pouring in as we're starting. So what I'd like to do at this stage is just to welcome everybody to the final Q&A webinar of 2018. We've got loads of cool plans for 2019. We're going to be having a lot more guests, like the wonderful guests that we have today. So I'm going to embarrass Charlie now, and by introducing her, telling you some of the amazing things that she's done. Charlie, in my opinion, is one of the finest songwriters, incredible lyricist that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting, working with in my entire life. Absolutely remarkable songwriter, and a very nice person to boot as well. Yeah. But Charlie has had songs recorded by wonderful people like Celine Dion, George Harrison, Tina Turner. Oh gosh, who else, Charlie? Who else have you written songs for?
Lisa Stansfield.
Amazing, Lisa Stansfield.
Paul Carrack.
Amazing.
Yes. Gosh.
What did it feel like having a song recorded by George Harrison, for goodness sake? I mean, he's one of the darn Beatles, for goodness sake.
Well, it was strange actually, because I didn't know he'd recorded it, sadly, until after he died.
Wow.
When a mutual friend said to me, by the way, did you know that George recorded Fear of Flying? And Fear of Flying was one of the first songs that was released of mine as a single on Island Records, my very first record. And I knew George. I'd been introduced to him a couple of times, and I knew he knew the song, but I had no idea that, in fact, he played the song in front of me, which was one of those moments, one of those.
Wow.
When you go, oh my God, a Beatle playing my song, you know. And that was one of the moments obviously I always cherish. But I didn't know he'd recorded it. I knew he had it on his jukebox because he had a big jukebox in his kitchen, and I knew it was on. I knew it was on there, which was very funny. But I got to hear it very, very privately about 5 years. No, it's about 5-6 years ago, maybe more.
Just incredible. You know, how many people are there around the world that are singing Beatles songs but can't say that they've had a Beatles sing one of their songs? What an absolute moment. I'm jealous. I do love you, Charlie, but I hate you as well.
It's mutual.
It's mutual.
I hope everybody knows all your gongs that you've won and all the people who covered your song, because just in case Martin is too busy blowing my own trumpet to blow his own, you should know, in case you don't, that Martin's been covered so many times by so many artists. He's not just running this for all our benefits. He's actually still a working songwriter, which is great, and still a songwriter getting cuts, which is an achievement these days, I can tell you.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. Yeah, very happy to say that we just had a song on the latest Cliff Richard album over here. So we were number 4 in the official charts, which is great. And so we're waiting to see how many it's actually sold now. Hopefully all of his fans. We're talking about a guy that sold 250 million records. So hopefully some of them are still alive because God bless him, he's knocking on, but he's still doing a great job. So but yeah, it's really nice to be. I'm still in the top 20 with the album, so it's always nice to get something in the charts, isn't it, Charlie?
Of course it is. And you're only as old as your voice box.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of older artists, you can tell the ones who really still exercise their voices. People like Michael McDonald, from the Doobie Brothers, amazing voice still. People like Tony Bennett. I mean, that's. I think they basically, the voice is a muscle. I know we're talking about songwriting, but this is just a little adjunct here, is that it is a muscle, and if you don't exercise it, it stops working. But those guys, they work on it. It's great.
I think it's also worth pointing out to every songwriter out there that there should be no snobbery about who's recording your songs. A lot of people are sort of aiming for the bright young things that are coming through, and sure enough, there are going to be a lot of people streaming their music on Spotify. But with the older artists, like your crooners like Tony Bennett, and people like Cliff, and of course it was a duet with my song was a duet with Olivia Newton-John. The people that buy these albums, they buy the physical albums.
They do, yes, they do.
Physical sales, which is, and lots of them. They buy lots of them. They have a big fan base that want to own a product. And you know what? Anybody recording any one of your songs I think it's always a landmark for every songwriter out there. So, look at the older artists too and think, hey, I'd love to get a cut with someone like that. Don't necessarily just go for cool. Anybody recording your song is great. And I've just had another song of mine picked up this morning. I got the email to say I've had a song picked up by a Japanese artist whose name I can't pronounce nor remember. But again, it's like, I don't mind if people are going to be listening to it in Japanese, or if they're going to be listening to it in Hungarian or wherever it is. As long as people are enjoying my music, then I'm a happy bunny, just getting the songs out there. So you're in for a treat, everybody. Charlie is a wonderful songwriter, and so we're going to be giving you some. We're going to be answering the questions that have come through. And yes, and Tony's just pointed out, a quick heads up, please make sure you've changed the setting when you're messaging at the bottom. Please make it to all panelists and attendees, so everybody can see what you're typing to everybody, instead of just all panelists. Because if it comes to all panelists, it's just me and Charlie can see it. But if you put it to all panelists and attendees, then everybody can see it. And the second point is that if you have a question for Charlie or myself or both of us today, then please put it into the Q&A box. You can see that in your screen. There's a Q&A box which you can then pop your question into, and we'll do our best to get through all of the questions. We've got a bunch of people all over the world joining us today, which is just fantastic. How cool is this? We're talking to songwriters right around the world today, which is just so inspiring for me. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Charlie, for joining us, and goodbye. Oh, no. So let's crack on. Let's have a look at a question, Charlie.
Okay.
So this one is from Erwin Cruz, and it says, "Hi, Martin and Charlie. Wishing you both a wonderful holiday season. As a singer-songwriter who uses keyboards as the main instrument for the alternative indie rock genre, question one, are there any distinct advantages that the guitar has over keyboards while singing live as a solo musician, as well as when writing songs?" Let's deal with that one first. So we've got an alternative indie rock writer and singer. Charlie, keyboards, guitar, what do you think?
Well, you and I play both, don't we?
We do.
I would say, I would personally say, if you're playing live, use both. I mean, obviously not at the same time, but unless you're really clever. But I think it's. I tend to swap around a lot, and I've always found it interesting in a live show if people vary it a bit. You know, even if it's that you do 10 songs on the guitar and then you wander over and you do 2 on the piano. That's great. And you don't have to be, if guitar is your main instrument, you don't have to be a brilliant pianist. People just be impressed that you play another instrument, and a song may require that. Sometimes you'll write a song on one particular instrument and it's always in its stripped down fashion. Better to play it on perhaps that one. So I would say be greedy, play both.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I've been to one of your gigs, Charlie, or several of your gigs, and, you'll sort of put down the guitar, you'll sit at a keyboard, or you'll pick up a bizarre Eastern European stringed instrument or something. And just having that variety in a performance is great for the audience, isn't it? Just that different sonic thing, rather than it just being banging away at the same kind of sonic experience for the whole night. Just getting that change up in frequencies, I just think is, and also it looks cool. It looks great. So if you play both, then I totally agree with Charlie. Certainly live, do both. And I think with keyboards as well, although rock is traditionally seen, if you're talking about studio stuff, rock is typically seen as a guitar-led thing. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is. You look at something like Supergrass. I would call them an indie rock band, but we are young, we are free, ding, 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 and just banging away on a bit of a crappy sounding piano. And again, it's a change up in sound. So yeah, embrace it all. As long as it still fits your genre, embrace it all. So the second part of this question is, how steep is the learning curve for someone who wants to transition from keyboards to the guitar as their main instrument for performing and songwriting? I've tried learning how to play the guitar from books, DVD courses, online, and struggled. But now considering to get a mentor who can point out and correct mistakes as I learn. For my money, how steep is the learning curve? It's all about the time that you put into it. When I've seen people that have tried learning guitar and they'll pick it up every now and then, and they'll still struggle doing their bar chords and struggle remembering the shapes. When I was first learning and I picked up the guitar, I could not put the darn thing down, and I constantly had chord books there to look through, which of course you can now do online. But in the olden days, when we had books with pages and everything, there was I was just going through chord books and trying new chords, and I couldn't put the thing down. So the first 6 months, I probably learned more about guitar playing than I did in the remaining 40 years or something. because I sort of plateaued. I got to a point where I thought, yeah, I've got that now. And if I'd have carried on at that rate, I would have been sort of Yngwie Malmsteen by now, but I'm not. What do you think, Charlie?
I think I agree. It's the amount of time you put in, and I would say it's good to have another human in the room help you, because they can, you know, things that you wouldn't even think of. Like, you may be struggling, and you know, when you're barring a chord. You know, I'm trying to put this at the right angle. You know, if you're barring a chord, it can be really painful. You know, and go, I can't do that. You know, bar chords. I'm not. You know, I hate bar chords. I can't use them. They hurt my hand. So, you know, somebody in the room can help you and go, well, actually, you know, if you move your arm slightly to this angle, it'll be a whole load easier. That sort of thing. They can help you. And I know there are, if you don't have that real person around, there are wonderful things on YouTube, of course, and some of those are absolutely brilliant. But
Yeah.
I would say, if you can as well, get a real human to show you, because it'll help. And also, and I know we're talking often about cost here, you know, because teachers can cost money. If you can manage it, it's good to have that discipline of having to go back and show something to somebody, you know, that you've done. You know, you've paid a teacher, it's a commitment, you know what I mean? You've paid somebody some of your hard-earned money, and they go, can you do learn this thing by next Tuesday? And you do it. You do it a lot more than if you haven't made a formal contract. You're not only making a contract with them, you're kind of making a contract with yourself. Yeah. You know, because it's very easy to break your own schedules, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think often does that.
Yeah, that sort of motivation of someone breathing down your neck is not a bad thing at all. Yeah. That's great. Good question from Erwin. Thank you for that. So let's just lose that one. David Burke, there's a question that you've put in the chat room. Could you pop that into the Q&A box instead, please? Thanks very much. Otherwise, it will just get lost in the ether. Okay, cool. Loads and loads of questions piling in. Next question is from Golston. If you start from the beginning, or choose to start from the beginning with all of the content here on the Songwriting Academy, especially in the dashboard, but have not finished the course you needed to the point of being well versed, is it wise to try and collaborate anyway? Would this not be a disadvantage at some point to the song, or is this being too much for a perfectionist because you can learn as you go? Yeah, we've got, as you know, we've got an ever-increasing amount of courses coming, and I'm happy to tell you that in the next week or so, we've got an amazing course coming up from Marc about songwriting for Nashville versus the rest of the world. Some amazing tips on lyric writing, country music, pop music. Marc Corley is a remarkable tutor and songwriter. So we've got that stuff coming, but, you know, learning is twofold. You know, certainly by watching courses, you know, the courses that we've got all laid out for you, you know, don't dip out and then never come back again to those courses. But learning on the hoof, as we call it, is invaluable as well. Actually either sitting in a room or sitting on a Skype call or a Zoom call, like something like this, and working with somebody is invaluable. And it's the thing I would say that before there were courses that I could do when I was learning to songwrite, just working with other people was something that really made me learn faster than anything else, because somebody will just do something, even that you may not find in a course, just a random thing that they do, really unexpected and surprising. And you go, oh my God, I didn't even think about that. And that always stays with you. And you know, it gets added to your tool belt, you know, that particular thing. And you're a big fan of collaboration too, aren't you, Charlie?
I am. I really am. And I couldn't stress enough how it actually doesn't matter how much or how little you do in a song. Simply, as we've discussed before, simply being there sometimes and being the listening ear is really important. You know, I remember writing a song really early on with one other person, and we played it to our bass player, And I mean, all he said was, it's a bit slow getting to the middle eight, isn't it? And that was, you know, that really helped. It was just one thing. He had fresh ears, you know, so it's and it's somebody's energy. It's that thing we were talking about just now, actually. It's saying if somebody else is involved, it kind of gives you a bit of a kick, really, because you have to get stuff done. You know, you can put stuff off that you've written by yourself forever. You know, you can procrastinate forever about that, but if someone else is involved, so that's just one aspect of it. But certainly their energy, their suggestions, even if what they make you go, no, not that. That was a terrible, no. You know, even saying no makes you then go, no, because it should be this, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Which song was that? What was the song that you were talking about with the bass player?
Well, it was a really, really early song on my very first album.
What was it called?
Hula Valley. I mean,
sorry, Hula Valley. Yeah, it was really slow getting to the middle eight.
Oh, I set them up. You kick them in.
There you go. Yeah, collaboration rocks. It's a thing that's propelled me faster through the music business than anything else, and I'm very fortunate that I got to collaborate a few times with Charlie on songs, and boy, is that an education. And I've been doing this for since just after the war, and you know, working with Charlie is always an education. I'm always learning. So do it, everybody. Collaborate. Do it over Skype if you can't actually get in a room, but just do it. Just talking through ideas, you know, with, like Charlie said, with real people is a beautiful thing. So the answer to Goulston's question, I know we've sort of gone off on a bit of a tangent, but no, don't worry about finishing the courses before you collaborate with other people, but do worry about finishing the courses, period. Make sure that you do, because there's loads of great tips in there that you're going to find useful. So
and after that, worry about finishing the songs.
Yeah, the songs. Yeah, I forgot about those. Cool. Next question. So this is from Zave Ryan, who says, on one of the last calls I was asking about when, despite brainstorming, you weren't coming up with anything. You said something along the lines of having to be able to connect to the song in order to get the lyrics out. So Charlie, this was someone that was trying to do the brainstorming part of our song planner, where before you even pick up a guitar or sing a note or write a lyric, it's about getting all of the potential phrases down, etc., etc. And he was sort of just hitting a brick wall with it. And so I was saying, you know, you've got to connect, you've got to feel what it is that the song is about in order to be able to get that flow going.
Yes.
I may have misunderstood, so apologize if I get it wrong, but I got the impression you were saying that the song had to deliver a story or a message. The reason I bring this up again is that not all songs need to impart some kind of message. Very true. I'm currently struggling with an up-tempo pop song. Verse 2 hell, is a stumbling block, but the thing is, it's just a pop song. There's no deep, meaningful story going on here. This is purely to be pitched at the One Direction market, catchy, synth-driven. So how do you deal with verse 2 hell when you're not trying to write Shakespeare? Really, really good question, because there is a big difference between, Marc calls it the difference between writing for the brain or writing for the butt. And it's like, is it going to make people want to get up and dance and have a good time, or is it going to make them sit and think? So, so Charlie, how do you deal with verse 2 hell when you're not trying to write Shakespeare? If you're just doing a straight down the line pop song, I mean, even forgetting verse 2, you know, just how do you approach lyric writing for a straight down the line pop song?
Well, it doesn't preclude having a good idea that catches people's imagination. You know, it doesn't mean that it has to be completely crass. You know, because I'll tell you what, you know, if you in the past, you know, when sometimes somebody said, "Oh, have you got any songs for whoever?" You know, some very, very pippity pop group, and I thought, well, I'm not going to give them that. It's far too good for them. You know, but actually, you know, they will always go for the good ones. You know what I mean? So I think the thing is, obviously, you know, you've identified your market. You know, you're not writing for. I'm trying to think of somebody now. You're not writing for, you know, help me out, Martin. I'm thinking of somebody who writes and uses very clever lyrics. You're not writing for the
Tom Waits.
You're not exactly. You're not writing for the Tom Waits market, but you still. I would be led by rhythm probably here, because it's how the words bounce off the melody. You know, I think you can allow the melody to lead there, and I do know a lot of songwriters who just write using kind of like sound of a lyric. You know what I mean? Because certain things sound good. You know, hence the Paul McCartney, you know, scrambled eggs. All I got away to scrambled eggs. You know, certain things are just, you know, they fit in those bits, and then it's your job, obviously, to unscramble the scrambled eggs. But it is a tougher one. It is a tougher one if you, particularly as you've identified, that you don't want to write something that will bring the lyric police out going, all right, who wrote this? Come on, stand up in front of the class and share your stupid thoughts with everybody else, you know, and the fact that you've patronised us as well. And I mean, that's not going to happen. But it's a tougher call. I will say this is that I think you still have to have a really original idea, so that the hell there is no way out of the hell. You've got to walk through it. You do have to walk through it. It's still hell. I've just finished a song, actually, I have to say, that's probably the simplest lyric I've ever written, or certainly not ever. No, not ever, because I've written for children's television. But one of the simpler songs I've written in the past 20 years. It was so difficult. I was tearing my hair out. I was absolutely tearing my hair out. And I kept going, but it's so simple. God, gee. You know, it is hell, yeah. I don't think there's a shortcut to it. I just think you have to keep your head down. Listen to some stuff that you find inspiring, possibly even in other genres. You know, I'm always saying this, I'm like a cracked record here, is that if you want some inspiration, go elsewhere. Don't listen to stuff that's already in the charts. Go somewhere else, completely other. And that may inspire you. And also, you won't be regurgitating stuff that people are bored with. You know, because however simple it is, people still appreciate an interesting idea.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, all of that. And yes, simple pop songs are difficult to write because they feel so trite, they feel so kind of lacking in something, especially if you're the sort of songwriter that likes to express themselves, which we're all terribly guilty of. But things that a couple of tips from me, I would say, don't embrace the hell too much. You know, have fun with it. You know, just try stuff out. And what Charlie was saying about just sounds that work. I've done pop stuff before. I've done quite a lot of pop stuff. And sometimes I've literally, either me or my co-writer has just stood in front of a microphone. When we've got the track, we kind of understand what the track is saying. And we might have reached verse 2, hell or whatever. And we've just stood in front of a microphone and we've done garbage, just garbled nonsense, where you just go, and it sounds really weird, but there are certain sounds, certain vowel sounds, certain percussive consonant sounds that actually will work with it. Yeah, and sometimes not trying to write a lyric for this kind of song, and just coming out with sounds will actually deliver a lyric to you. I swear that I've had this happen, where I've just stood there and sung some kind of nonsense and then gone, oh, that's great. I love that, because I haven't been trying to think, what do I really want these people to? What do I want them to? What's my motivation here? You know, and getting all deep, dark, and meaningful. It's just like, you know what? I'm just going to go, and so you can get these what we call happy accidents, where something just comes out that way. And simple is difficult. The simplest song I've ever written, Charlie Dore, is one that I did with a mutual friend of ours, Chris Neal. who's also worked with Celine Dion, as you know, an amazing producer. And in fact, Chris and I, for everybody out there, we wrote the song Everybody's Someone, which has just been recorded by Cliff, and it was previously cut by Leanne Rimes. He's a great songwriter. And but we wrote a song together with a Canadian, I think she was a Canadian artist. And the entire song had 17 words in it. And it was the most liberating thing to do, to not have to put a whole bunch of messages in it. And it was something like, you and me together is all we need, really, really spaced out. And the chorus of the song was one phrase, which was effing amazing. It just went, in amazing, in amazing. And that was it. And we got paid handsomely for it. And so I was very, very pleased to have written a song that made money with 17 words in it. But that was very much a kind of, we didn't sit there and go, oh yeah, but what do we really want to say? We're just trying stuff out. And there's a lot of trial and error with these kind of things when it's not Shakespeare, as you say. But I think the go-to thing is what Charlie suggested, which is what I've done, is just trying different sounds and seeing what just sounds good. Because there's a difference between a good song and a good record as well. And, you know, a good song is something that can be covered in so many different ways. A good record is just something that sounds great on the radio. And if it's pop and it's just got a really catchy chorus, a lot of the time they're not going to pay, the listeners aren't going to be paying close attention to the verse lyrics. They're just not.
Can I just say one thing?
No.
Yes, oh, go on. Go on, sir.
All right, just one thing.
All right. Well, class. What I wanted to say was that I'm thinking of an example, thinking of the Daft Punk, because I'm happy. Oh, that's produced by Daft Punk, was it? Because I'm happy.
Oh, that was, oh, come on. Oh, come on, everybody. Who did Happy? It was, what's his name? Pharrell. There you go. Thank you, Nicole.
Yes, okay. Well, dead simple. However, there was one really weird metaphor in it, which was sing along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Yeah.
Weird. That's a weird line, you know, but I think I can't have been the only person who went, what? What did he just sing? Like a room without a roof. But it's kind of slightly awkward and weird, but it's good, you know. It's not Shakespeare, but it says something, doesn't it? It's
kind of like it's opened everything up, yes. And yeah, absolutely. As Tony has said, blowing the roof off. Yeah.
Yes, it's slightly odd, you know, and sometimes slightly odd, you know, in amongst a load of kind of fairly ordinary stuff, simple stuff, can really be, you know, your jewel.
Do you know what? Absolutely. That's the other thing that I'll say. I give this advice to songwriters anyway, but be unexpected, be unusual, you know, surprise people with every song that you do. It's, you know, when a label or a manager or an artist hears a song, if they go, oh, I wasn't expecting that, you know, that's a really good thing. It's far better than, yeah, I knew that was coming. You know, just having something unusual. And Charlie writes the most incredibly left of field lyrics that still carry that sort of, you get them, but they're just so unusual. I mean, you've got a song called Neutrinos, haven't you? Is it called Neutrinos?
Breakfast of Neutrinos. It's called. Breakfast
of Neutrinos, which is like, it's like, what? But it makes complete sense when you hear the song. Everybody, you should get onto, are you on Spotify, Charlie, with all of this stuff? Yeah. Go and listen to, after this podcast, everybody, go listen to Breakfast of Neutrinos. And one of my favorite songs is looking like my mother, but acting like my dad, which is another beautiful song.
That's from Milk Roulette, that one. That one.
From Milk Roulette, yeah. So if you want some unusual and unexpected song titles, go look at Charlie Dore on Spotify afterwards. Right, Good question about that. I really enjoyed that. Gosh, we're already half an hour in. So this is from Matt Rivers. Sometimes as singer-songwriters, we get attached to our material. No, really. And it can be hard to let it go, even when it is a song that could be brilliant for another artist. So how do you know when a song you write is for you and when it is for someone else? Well, I'm not an artist, so I think, Charlie, you are still very, very active in the live scene, releasing music, but you also write for other people. I think this is probably a question for you.
I'm very happy for people to do my stuff, even if I'm doing it, is the answer to that. When I very first started out, my first major cut, which was 50 billion years ago, and was courtesy of Chris Neal, actually.
Okay.
I had a song called Strut, which I wrote with Julian Littman, my buddy from way back. And I sent it to Chris, and he said, this could be good for Sheena Easton. She was very famous here, and then she went to the States, and she had a far bigger career there, actually, in the end. I at the time, was in a record deal. And I didn't want her to have it. And no one had ever wanted one of my songs before. And I was like, no, it's mine. It's my hit. It's my hit. And I had my arm twisted, and she did it, and she had a number 4 in America with it. But what it did was it gave me the wherewithal to then experiment and do stuff after that for myself, because it earned me some money that I wouldn't have had either. I mean, who knows? Maybe if I don't know what would have happened if I'd have done it. I ask myself that sometimes. But as it turned out, it gave me a security. And so I was able to carry on writing. So I would say that if you've got, I know there's this thing about, if you have a hot song, and you give it to, Rita Ora, then somebody else isn't going to do it. But if it's you, and I think, your songs can go before you. They can be your ambassadors, and they can get you work, and you will write more. You will write more. I know you do feel like, that was my best song. You feel possessive. I really understand that. And sometimes, P.S., they will pork it up for you. They will. You'll go, what have they done to it? Oh, that also happens as well. But then, everybody's taste is different, isn't it? You never know what's going to happen. So I would say, even if it is for you, let someone else do it. If you've had a string of hits for other people, you're going to be easier for you to get in the door. It's a bit like people sometimes say when they go to the gym, they go, oh, I don't want to get my arms too big too quickly. I don't want to get big, muscly arms. No, you know what I mean? It's going to take a while. It's going to take a while.
I think that's great advice. Really good advice. And from my point of view, the advice that we've given before is, if you think you've written your best song, if you think you're giving away your best song and you can't write another one like that, go do something else. Because there's going to be more great songs in you. The more you write, there's going to be more. And I would say if an opportunity comes for someone to release your music, then take it. Absolutely take it. I'm totally down with Charlie on this. So, which is good because we don't really want to fall out online, do we, in public?
Not publicly, no.
Great question. I love that.
Yes, very good question.
Okay, so we've got quite a long question and we've got quite a lot of little short ones as well. So let's plow on. Are we all good? And are you good, Charlie?
Yes, I'm just getting into my stride now.
Right, good. Have you got your thermos flask of tea there?
I think I couldn't find the thermos, but I'm through. I've finished the tea now.
Right, good. Okay, this is a question from Michael Peverwalton. Peveril Walton. Wow, that's a name to conjure with. Listening to Charlie Dore's songs with her folk and other genre fusion, lovely melodies and wonderful lyrics has been inspiring. How about that? I have not heard anything like that since Joni Mitchell. I'm currently living in Rio and have infused Brazilian influences into my music, which was originally of a folk background. I write what inspires me and for myself to sing. I do not think my songs would fit many other singers. I do not write according to the 3 or 4 chord repetitive lyric hit formula currently so much in vogue. My song lyrics encompass a range from environmental, philosophical, spiritual and protest to romantic. In Charlie's opinion, is there still space for those types of non-mainstream songs with more serious lyrics? And what are her recommendations for moving forward in this genre? So the floor is yours again, Charlie.
Gosh, that's a very detailed question. Thank you for that, and thank you for the fantastically flattering things you say. Thank you. I would say that there's always room for different stuff. You know, if you want to just write pop music, you know, that is fairly ephemeral and throwaway, then of course you'd be doing that. You're not doing that. That's not the path you've chosen and not what you like to write. The important thing, you know, is that you write what you like. You know, that's important. You know, because your heart is in it. And these are all fairly, you know, these are crunchy, you know, lyrically crunchy concepts. You know, I think, you know, if you. You know, I don't know if you perform. You did you say you perform? If you would, I'm right.
Didn't say anything about it, but I'm assuming if they're for him, then he probably is performing.
You know, I think, you know, if you're performing, then, you know, great. They have a, you know, you're able to share them with people. If you want to get, obviously you're probably on this forum because you would like a little bit more oxygen for, you know, for your work, and why not, you know. I think it's interesting to look at people on the live circuit, you know, particularly, I mean, if you're in where are you in
Rio, I think.
In Rio. I don't know what the sort of jazz scene is like there, but, you know, for instance here, I think you've got far more chance getting somebody to do a version of your song in the non-mainstream genres. You know, if you're thinking purely pop, then, you know, that's a really, really tough place to get a cover. You know, good luck if you do. But you know, if you go and listen to a jazz artist or you know, Brazilian artist or whatever, I think it's you get to talk to them and you get to find out whether your kind of stuff could possibly fit into their live work. Then I think you've got more chance of getting, if you speak to people like that, than going the straight, you know, the straight route to the, you know, quote unquote commercial alleys. You know, what do you think, Martin, about this?
It all depends. I mean, would it be fair to say, Charlie, that the songs that you put out on your albums, the ones that you do live, are the songs that you're not pitching to other artists most of the time?
I would say yes. I would say that most of the songs on the last few albums, I wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
I'd be delighted. I'd be absolutely delighted. And occasionally people have gone, oh, I'm doing that in my set now, and I've been surprised and flattered and pleased, you know. But I think, you know, it depends what you want from your songs, you know, and how you feel when you finish them. You know, if you're writing a song about, you know, the environment, about, you know, a protest song, for instance, I mean, you know, you don't want that trivialized, do you? You know, not that you have to, not that in a commercial, if you make it commercial, it will automatically trivialize it. That's not necessarily going to happen. But I would say, you know, if you do perform, then I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't change too much. You know,
No.
it doesn't mean, of course, that you can't bring those elements to a collaboration. Possibly,
Yeah.
you know, if you have the appetite for it, you could maybe collaborate with somebody who is possibly a little bit more commercially orientated, and then say, have you ever thought about us doing a song about the environment, or, you know what I mean? And mixing those two areas, if you can find that person. I mean, you know, you will kiss a lot of frogs, but that's collaboration. You know what I mean? It's not always easy to find the perfect collaborator.
Yeah. I think my sort of thoughts on this are, if your goal is to get your songs out there and you're the one that's getting the songs out there by performing these things, then great. If you're not and you're looking for other artists to cover them, then you've got to think about what other people will want to sing about. In my opinion, there are few artists that are mainstream artists signed to major record labels that will be releasing songs about the environment or protest songs. Yes, we've had our Billy Braggs, and you know that there are the occasional ones, but they're usually writing their own songs because they feel so strongly about it. But those kind of things about the environment, the protest songs, something that may be very philosophical, they're going to be hard to pitch to other people. But if your goal is just to have them performed out there and you're doing that job, then I would say, great, you know, absolutely do what you love. But if your goal is to get other people to record your songs, then consider what other people might want to sing about. And it's usually about more universal themes, because the record label want them, and they want to sell records right around the world. And rather than go for what would be a small niche of people that are interested in protest songs, they're going to be far more interested in going for something far more universal, like a song about romance, broken heart, or found love, or something that is maybe a message song, uplifting, etc., or an anthem that for a big sporting event. They're going to want to be going for that, because at the end of the day, they want to sell records and make money. So it's really about, you know, what your final outcome is, Michael, and my thoughts on this. Good question, and thank you, Charlie, for that. And yes, Michael, you're absolutely right. Wonderful songwriting again from Charlie. So let's. I'm good. I think we should do like one more question from this batch, and then we're going to have a listen to a song, and we're going to do a live feedback. And I say we, I mean the collective we. That means all of you guys as well. I'm going to give you the link for this song, and I'm wondering if, yeah, where is it? So, oh my gosh, where is the actual song? I'm going to send you the link for the song now. Just bear with me, but it doesn't look. Well, in fact, you're all going to be members of the Academy anyway, so I'm going to pop the link into here. By the way, I've seen another question from David Burke that's going into the chat room and not the... Oh, no, it's all right, David. I see you now in the Q&A box. That's fine. Okay, so this is the song that we're going to be listening to shortly. Oh, in fact, I've just done that to just David Burke accidentally. Hey.
We've just had a bit of kind of weird reception here. I don't know if you've seen me become pixelated before your eyes, but you became very Dalek-like for a bit there, Martin. But hopefully it's all right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, all good. So this is a song from, this is the winner of the songwriting challenge. Sorry about this, David. I'm misunderstood here. So yeah, this is a song from Marc Minor, who won the November songwriting challenge in the Academy. I've just seen something very funny. Rob Nicholas. Hey, Rob, you've become pixelated is a line in my next song. Wonderful.
100%, Rob.
Right. Okay, then. So let's answer a question while everybody's getting that. Everybody's going to that link, which is a song by Marc Miner called Escape. So the question is from Sabrina. Hello, Sabrina. Lovely to have you here. Where do you start when wanting to pitch songs to potential artists? I'm very new to this.
Over to you, Martin.
Okay, then. So pitching songs is very much about building your network. It's not something that you can necessarily just go to a website and go called pitchmysong.com unless you want to pay handsomely for something that may not generate any rewards whatsoever. There are websites out there where where you can pay for them to pitch your song. I am frankly not a firm believer or a participant in those sites. I've had more songs generated, more cuts generated by my collaborators pitching songs and through their network, and for me pitching songs through my network. And that means going out and meeting people in the business, and we're not saying, oh, they just go somewhere and you can meet 20 people from record labels and give them all a song of yours. It's more the case of building up that network of people slowly and gradually and playing stuff to people in the music business. And it could be that you play a song to a collaborator who then plays it to somebody else because they say, oh my God, you should listen to this song. This is amazing. And that other person goes, oh, you're right, this is amazing. And they play it to a producer friend of theirs who then plays it to a record label. And suddenly, before you know it, you've got a good song out there. The good songs, the cream always rises. It really does. And sometimes it takes years. You know, the song that I had recorded by the Backstreet Boys was doing the rounds for 5 years. And loads of people saying, this is a great song, we're going to record it. And then they didn't. And then somebody else heard the song. And finally, after 5 years, I got an email saying the Backstreet Boys were going to be recording the song. So you just never know. But when you've got and this is key, that you've got 100%er, a song that you feel 100% confident about, with 100% confidence behind the demo as well, the actual recording of the song. And that's what the Songwriting Academy is all about. It's about getting you to the point where you're creating those songs that they don't have any fat on them. They're great songs and they're great recordings of great songs. And then people like Charlie and me, when we hear a great song that somebody's written and recorded, we play it to each other, and then we'll play it to somebody else and say, oh, we'll ping them the link for something. You're saying you should hear this. And it works that way. But of course, you've got to know people like Charlie and me, and that's why we're here as well. You know, we're here in the Songwriting Academy. You're posting up songs in the forum, and we're getting to hear those as well. But go out and build your own network as well. Go to networking events, go to music business events, go to seminars, go to conferences, meet people in the business and nurture those relationships. Don't hand out 50 business cards and then get home with the 50 that you've collected and go, I haven't got a clue who any of these people are. Just one or two people from every event that you go to that is a meaningful conversation and a meaningful relationship that you then begin will start to create your network, and you'll hear about opportunities for pitching songs and collaborating with other writers. You'll hear about opportunities for pitching songs that way. So it's all about people. It's all about people. And I would say don't spend money on sites where you pay to have them pitch your songs. The other thing that you can do is, if you feel that you've got a handful of songs that are really good songs and really good recordings, then send a very polite email to publishers or record labels and say, I've just done this. In fact, somebody that I haven't spoken to in the music business for a long, long time, I sent him an email saying, hey, listen, it's been ages. I've got a song for this band XYZ on your record label. It's a major band on a major record label. And I just said, look, is it okay? I want to send you this song. And so I got to send him the song. They rejected it, but at least the right person listened to the song. although clearly he wasn't the right person because he just didn't get it. He's an idiot. But there you go. You know, it's but reach out to publishers and record labels as well and say, hey, listen, I'm a songwriter. I've got do your homework. Don't say I've got some great songs and you're sending a load of indie songs to a company that only deals with folk artists doing ballads. You know, just say I've got a great song for this particular artist. Would it be okay if I send you the song? And what's the worst thing that can happen? They say no. But always be polite, always ask permission, and only ever send one song at a time. So that would be my advice on that. Does that get a tick from you, Charlie Dore?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, brevity. You know, people are, you know, they talk about attention deficit disorder. I mean, that's big time. You know, if you're getting thousands of songs on your email, you know, then you're going to give stuff very short shrift.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Cool. Shall we listen to a song?
Yes.
Let's do it. So this was a song for the November Songwriting Challenge in the Academy, and I set a challenge for people to listen to a piece of classical music and to be inspired by the classical music and to write something around that, use that as the foundation for writing a new song. Because, of course, the beautiful thing about classical music is that 70 or 75 years after the composer has died, that music becomes what we call public domain. It's out of copyright, and we're able to do variations on that piece of classical music and claim it as our own. So, and also it's great to listen to classical music for inspiration, because there are harmonic changes that we don't normally think of putting in ourselves, or there could be melodies that we just wouldn't expect normally or we wouldn't normally sing that kind of melody. So it's a great source of inspiration. So this was a song from a guy called Marc Miner, who's a very active member. In fact, Marc, are you on today? Let me just see if I can find Marc. Is he on here? No, Marc can make it. He normally is on these. But
what was the piece of classical music? Are you going to tell us that?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So, well, I didn't put I left it open for anybody to choose their own piece of classical music. So Marc said it was fun trying this out. It's hard to find a piece of classical music that fits to a modern pop melody, or vice versa, I would say. But in Vienna, Austria, we have this kind of music everywhere. He's based in Vienna. So I ended up reworking a composer, a piece by Franz Schubert. But in this case, I didn't pick up one of his songs, but took his instrumental piano trio in E flat major, D.926, opus 100, second movement. Oh, we know it well, don't we, Charlie?
That old thing.
That old thing. God, we were just talking about opus 100, second movement this afternoon. So I only took out some melodic lines and chords from him. At some points, I just took the left hand from the piano as a bass line, and I turned the tempo up from 40 to 64 BPM. This is great. And did a top line with a counterpointing melody. So it was more like cut, copy, paste, delete, mix, remix, twist and turn, nervous breakdown and restart. I somehow think Schubert would have liked the pictures I tried to add with my lyrics to his music. He was a traveler and seeker and didn't feel well with the establishment. I really like his music. He never heard the premiere of this piano trio because he died a few weeks earlier. What a story. So I'm just going to post the lyric up into the chat box here so you can hear Marc's lyric as well, or you can read his lyric as well. Oh, come on. You're not going to do that? Copy and paste. Oh, it doesn't want to do it. Darn it. Did it before.
Well, that,
Copy. Come on, you can do this. Paste. No, it doesn't want to paste. It's on the link, by the way. You can see the link there on the chat room, everybody. So I'll play the track here rather than you'll play it individually. And Charlie, you won't be. Beg your pardon. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Charlie. I'm going to see if I can send you the lyric because I don't think you can log into the site.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. No, I can't. However,
You could email it to me, maybe.
I don't have the email on this computer.
Okay.
Okay, you're just gonna have to listen up. Okay, here we go. This is called Escape, and while it's playing, I'll see if I can send you guys the lyric as well. But I do want to say we're going to be asking all of you. Oh, brilliant! Somebody has posted the first verse of the lyric up anyway onto the site. Yeah, so here we go. It's all coming up there on the chat room.
Where is it? I can't. Who
From
posted
Erhard,
it?
the chat room, Charlie.
Oh, okay. I'm in the chat room, but oh yes, no.
It starts with the shiny wet tarmac. So while Charlie's looking for that, guys and girls, what I want you to do is the goal with these feedbacks is not for us just to tell you what we think. It's for you to listen critically. And this is not just like, oh, do I like it? Do I not like it? You know, is it nice? What I want you to be listening for, what we want you to be listening for, we want you to listen for things like what we call the melodic contour. So where are the highs and the lows in the melody? Where does he use a static melody? Where does he use the conjunct melody where it goes up and down the scales? And where does he use the disjunct, which is the spikes in the melody? And also think about where things are placed on the bar. Does the verse start on beat one of the bar? Is it different when we get to the pre-chorus and the chorus? Do they start in different places on the bar? Because the more contrast that we can create between the sections of our song, the far more interesting it is as it goes through, and it keeps the listener engaged in the song. So listen to all of these things. And of course, listen to about, does it move me? Think about, does it move me? But then work out why it moves you. What is it about the song that moves you? And if it doesn't move you, then try and work out why it doesn't move you. And if there's any areas where you think, oh, I wish it had done this there, then make a note as we go through the song. And I'm going to ask you to post up your comments before Charlie and I do this, and let's see how in sync we all are with each other on it. So this song is called Escape. Let's go for it now.
The shiny wet tarmac reflects the bitter night. I turned up my color against the lonely cold, and I was the tunnel of flashing neon light. As I've been told, all my dreams have been sold. My hope will last mine, live until it's on. My love will grow, my faith ain't gone. I can hear them in the voices, yearning for the great escape. I will make my final choices. I'm done with all the fake. This is my escape. This is my escape. I know.
Okay, so that's the song so far to the chorus. Charlie, I've just sent you a private message with the lyric on it on the chat room there. So let's have some feedback. So Dave is saying, yeah, I sent you a link, Dave, so you could actually fire up the page that's got the lyric on there. So we've got the shiny wet tarmac reflects the bitter night. I turned up my collar against the lonely cold, and I walked the tunnel of flashing neon light, as I've been told all my dreams had been sold. So we've got Rob Nicholas saying, I'm guessing Marc's is a Tom Waits fan. Yeah, okay then. Let's have some feedback, guys. Not what does he sound like? We've got rasping vocal, makes it hard to like initially, but its moodiness is interesting. You think it could have been pushed a bit faster from Rob? Okay. Dan was saying he likes the lyrics. He was waiting for more variation in the melody. So where did you hear the variation? What variation was there between the verse and the chorus? Anybody who heard the variation here? I'm not gonna feed this to you. I'm gonna be a bully now. Kate is saying that she likes the desperation in the chorus. Steve is saying it was a gap. Okay, what kind of gap was it, everybody? Tom, it went up an octave. There you go. And Tyler, it went up an octave. These are the things we're listening for, everybody. And this whole octave jump thing is a thing. You think about Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, where it's the same melody over and over again. And you get the chance to use the wonderful tool of repetition, but you still create variation by going up the octave. So anybody that hasn't heard Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, then go listen to it after this, because it's an incredible song. And literally, it's just the octave leap in there. Right, Khaled. Right, Khaled's been listening. Verses start at beat 1 of the bar, and the pre-chorus starts at beat 2. So we've got, let's have another listen.
The shiny wet
Beat 1 there.
reflects the bitter night. I turned up my color against the room with hope, and I walked the tunnel of flashing neon light as I found the gold. All my dreams had been sold.
Yeah, so he does start the first line of the chorus on beat 2, and well, in fact, it's the and, but then he lands back on the 1 on each of those. Oh, there we go. There. Cool. So yeah, he does pretty much on most of the chorus actually go on to beat 2 of the or the and of 1 and da 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 da. So melodically, we realize it's the same kind of melody. What did you like about the song? What might you change about the song if the song were yours? I'm going to read out some comments as we go. More variation in melody. There was a transition from the first verse into the chorus. Intensity is good though. The vocals are great, but sometimes instruments like to hide the vocals at times. Yeah, it's a little bit on the edge there. One thing to remember is that when you're recording a vocal on a song, it's often we know what the lyrics are, but other people don't. So sometimes it's a good idea to over enunciate more than you think you should. And it doesn't sound daft. It just sounds audible, and we can detect the lyrics.
And just volume as well. You know, you get very involved with making a demo of a song, and like Martin says, you know it. You know the song, and sometimes, and I did this for years. The vocals were just too quiet. And as soon as I started turning the vocals up, people said, "Your voice is a lot better these days. You're singing much better." And I was singing exactly the same, it's just louder.
Yeah, never bury the vocal. So David's saying, I find the melodies of the verse and chorus to be quite similar at first. I'd have liked him to start the melody on a different part of the scale rather than the tonic, but love the mood. Good critique there, Dave. I'm just making sure I've got everybody's names here, because I only get the first 3 letters of people's names. So it says Dav. Yeah, so this is Matthew. I would put some spikes into the chorus. Now, I think that's a really interesting point, Matthew. My hope will last, my liberty lives on, my love will grow, my faith, you know, just any kind of that, my liberty lives on, just to create that little bit more interest in there and that surprise element. I think that's really good. So great comment, Matthew. Felt could make more of for a variation at This Is My Escape. I totally agree. The song's called Escape, and it gets to, let's just listen to that last bit of This Is My Escape. What do you think of this, Charlie?
I will make my final choices. I'm done with all the fake. This is my escape. This is my escape.
This is my escape. This is my escape.
Well, I felt it was a timing thing, actually, as much as he does, this is my escape.
Yeah.
I didn't want that gap there. I didn't want the change in timing. I wanted the same timing, quicker, but alter the tune. That's what I wanted to hear. So there was a bit of a kind of slight, like an attention lull, a sort of a fraction of a second where I went, and you know, and that I wanted it. Can you just play it again, Martin? Just those last.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go.
I'm done with all the fake. This is my escape. This is my escape.
So what are you hearing there?
Well, I'm thinking, this is my escape. Slight change of chord or something underneath there. I wanted to hear, this is my escape. 2, 3. This is my escape. Now, that's the rhythm I wanted to hear.
Yeah, you and me both. Yeah, you say you give people the hook of your song.
This is my escape. That's you know, trivial, but
yeah,
I just
exactly.
felt it was this is my escape was kind of. I've just got a notice that said your connection is unstable.
It's fine this end. It's fine this end. It's just me, Charlie.
Okay, it's just me.
I totally agree. You know, he's set up this hook. This is my escape. And what happens, everybody? Hands up. Well, in fact, somebody put it into it. What happens when we sing a hook? What do we do with it, everybody? Come on, you've been looking at the courses. There we go. Thank you, Chris. We repeat it. We repeat it. There we go. It's all coming here. You get a hook, give it to them again. That's how people remember your hook. Which is the hook? Is it this is my escape or this is my escape? It's like we don't know which one to remember. So this is my escape. And then if it's going to be this is my escape, you know, just but that phrasing.
You could even do it some more. This is my escape. You know, you could even do it more times. If you do it quicker, you can get more in.
This is my escape. This is my escape. This is my escape. You know, it could be something like that. Yeah, there's anything that's just going to hammer the darn thing home. So, you know, I think there's some really cool stuff about this. You know, we're picking up on a couple of things that we would change if it were ours. But I want to say that, you know, he's got some really great lyrical content here. The shiny wet tarmac reflects the bitter night. It does sound kind of Tom Waitsy. I turned up my collar against the lonely cold. You know, it's great that he's showing us. It's not just telling us like a newscaster. You know, a man was in a cold street the other day. A man was standing in the street. It's like, no, it was shiny. We know it's raining, or it's been raining because it's shiny wet tarmac. Reflects the bitter night. We realize it's cold, the collar up. We can see the picture, and this great imagery from Marc, really, really good. And, you know, there's a desperation that he's painting there so well. My hope will last, my liberty lives on, my love will grow, my faith, it ain't gone. You know, it's the hope is there. I can hear a million voices yearning for the great escape. I will make my final choices. I'm done with all of the fake. This is my escape. My only comment lyrically about the chorus is if the hook is going to be, this is my escape, then don't steal the hook in the middle of the chorus with yearning for the great escape. It's like stealing the punchline of a song. We've got save it for the end. And I know it rhymes, but it's like just save it for the end would be my advice on that.
And also, I really like the way he has used those chord changes subtly underneath, hasn't he? Those are I actually can't hear very well on my system here, you know. Right. But I'm sure on a bigger and better system, you know, you can really hear those changes that he's been very clever with, I think. Yeah,
absolutely. So we've got other things. Nicole's saying I might make it a little more airy for mystery. Good comment. The musical mood and the way he sings fits the lyrics. There's good prosody there, Khaled. That's when the lyrical theme and the musical theme match each other. And Erhard saying I would take in some parts of duet version and a bit of better understandable, even though I like the mood. So I think the vocal might have been a little bit overcooked with the distortion. So David is saying how many entries were in the contest. That I'm not sure of. It varies from month to month. It's open for everybody to enter. And it's done on a more of a lottery style. So even if you're just writing a lyric, the points of these monthly challenges are to just get people writing, rather than it being a thing on merit of somebody might write a folk lyric and somebody might do a pop track with just 3 words in it or something. And because we have such a diversity of writers, it's impossible then to sort of say, well, this one is better than that one. It's the challenges are there just to get people writing and trying different things, because this is how you learn, by trying different things. It varies from month to month, David, about how many people are in there. Build it, and so we've got repeat it, read. Okay, so I think that's all of your comments. So I think, you know, great job with Marc with the imagery here. I think we all agree that hook-wise, it could be a little bit more repetitive for the hook, and perhaps some little spikes in that chorus just to give a little bit more variation on it. But don't stray away, everybody, don't be frightened of doing this octave challenge. And in fact, we're going to be this is one of the challenges for the first quarter of the next month, maybe February or March. But where I'm going to actually ask you to write a song where the melody is pretty much the same, but goes up the octave for the chorus. And there's more songs that do this than you might think. So great. We've got about 12 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for your input. And thank you, Charlie, for yours on this. Apologize.
Just very quickly, can I just say something about Schubert?
Of course. Yes, about Schubert.
About Schubert is that there's 2 songs that were very similar. The original was by Leonard Cohen, which is called Famous Blue Raincoat. And the chorus went, and Jane came by with a lock of your hair. She said that you gave it to her that night when you planned to go straight. And not just me, several other people remembered when I need you, hold out my hand and I look at you. Da, 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 da. And often I thought, I wonder if anybody got sued about that. And I looked it up and I found that actually, Carol Bayer Sager and I can't remember the other writer, Albert Hammond, did get sued by Leonard Cohen's publishers, and they did settle. However, their musicologist, which is another whole subject, but their musicologist pointed out actually that the original theme was in the public domain as it was by Schubert.
Wow, how about that? Yeah. There you go. So even if you take a bit of classical music, make sure that nobody else has done it before, because they might have the copyright on it, the new copyright on it. So very interesting. Cool. So just a very quick thing from Nicole. Are you doing any teaching songwriting camps? Yeah, Nicole, whereabouts are you based? Let's just have it, because we do have New York, New Jersey. Yes, so we are going to be doing some more songwriting stuff in New York in 2019, Nicole. But if you want something sooner, it'll be later in 2019. If you want something sooner, then do come to the UK. We've got boot camps over here. We've got a lot of people interested in doing the 3-day boot camps in January, March, and I believe it's the end of May as well. So we've got a 3-day boot camp where me and 2 other multi-million selling songwriters will just give you everything that we can, and just to show you how we get songs in the charts. So so do come over, yeah. Nicole, if you want to email me personally about this, if you email me to Martin, in fact, I'm going to put it in here about the camps. If anybody's interested in coming on one of these camps, this is my UK address, the Songwriting Academy. Okay, so that is my email address. If you want more information on the songwriting camps over here, then we'd love to have you here. We've got an amazing weekend lined up for everybody that comes. Khaled, it would be great to know when you're coming over. It'd be really good to have you here. So cool. Oh yes, and there's been plenty of people here that have been on this. And yes, someone's saying retreats. I think that's Leah. Is that Leah Gatt? The retreats in Andalusia are the best thing. Yes, we do a whole week in Andalusia as well, which is putting into practice all the stuff we learn on the boot camp, and that's a remarkable week as well. So any more questions about these, just fire them at me. Let's try and go through a couple more questions. I mean, fire them at me on email and we'll get back to you. But book early. I've got to tell you that both the boot camps and the retreats are filling up really quickly. I did a recent appearance on a major radio station here, Radio 2. We've had so much interest on the back of that. So if you want to book onto one of these, then hit me up quickly on them, okay? I don't want you to miss out. So questions, more questions. We've got 7 minutes, Charlie. Let's do some rapid fire stuff.
Okay.
Hi, Martin and Charlie. This is from the wonderful Chris Clark. We love Chris Clark. At what moment did you really feel like a songwriter as opposed to someone who was writing songs? Thanks, Chris. Charlie.
Well, probably when I got my first cut, I would say, because even though I was writing songs, you know, for myself, somehow back then, for some reason, also just the word songwriter defined it much more, you know, that somebody else had chosen that song without you singing it, you know. So I guess it was when I got my first cut, which was the Sheena Easton one. Yeah, that's when it first. What about you, Martin?
I've got to say it was way before I got my first cut. I think it was when I've got the first proper demo of a song, like a song that I was proud of and a good demo of the song. And I listened to it, and just because I was proud of it, I thought, yeah, I'm a songwriter. I can do this. And which is why I always say to people, just write songs, concentrate on being proud of what you do instead of copying other people. Just concentrate on being really proud of your work. And the moment you come across something that gives you the chills, that you write something and create a demo that gives you the chills, and you can't stop listening to it over and over again because you just love it to bits. That for me is the point where I felt like a real songwriter. And rather than just someone that was trying, I thought, yeah, I love this. And it felt great. And you know, that moment on, you've got a legacy that you can leave forevermore, you know, just a song that you're proud of. Of course, it's always nice to get the validation of getting songs picked up by major label artists, which is certainly my goal and Charlie's as well. But now I would say the first time I wrote something I was really, really proud of. I felt like a songwriter. So great question. What a lovely question.
Yeah, but much longer since I felt like, well, it was funny that I've been writing for all those years, and you know, for children's television and all that sort of stuff, and yet if somebody said, "What are you?" I'd have gone, "Oh, singer, and songwriter." You know what I mean? Not songwriter.
Yeah. Okay, a question from Stephen White, which is, what's the best way for an unknown songwriter to pitch the songs to publishers, A&R guys that you know? So yeah, I've mentioned, I went through this earlier, it's about networking. And if you don't know someone, then send them a really polite email, Stephen, and say, I'd love to pitch you a song. I think it could be great for this artist. Do your homework for the publishers and A&R guys. So I'm not going to go into more of that because I did spend a lot of time on that earlier. I hope that's okay. That one. Okay, so hi Charlie and Martin. This is from Erhard Schreb. Hi Charlie and Martin. I wonder where you offer your songs and musicians, like you mentioned, get attention to your song, or do you get in contact with most of those who you think could take your song? I think this is the same question. And as they all surely know your names, how could I manage that somebody get noticed from my songs? Yeah, it does help having a name, but I didn't always have a name that people knew, nor did Charlie. It's about writing great songs and building a network again, Erhard. This is a perennial question, and I'm not surprised that it's come up lots of times in this webinar. It often does, but it is about creating your network and doing great work. David Burke, when you say, we're on 3 minutes counting now, Charlie, when you say an artist gets paid when his or her song plays on the radio, where does the money come from? So very quickly, David, let's talk about the UK, for example. So the radio stations, they will pay PRS for the privilege of playing songs live. Playing songs on their radio station. And the big radio stations like Radio 1 and Radio 2, Capital Radio, these are the big stations. They will actually send in digitally, they will submit all of the songs that have been played on their radio stations. And for each of those songs, there is a fee that they will be paying to the PRS, which is the Performing Rights Society in the UK, which is a performing rights organization. They're called PROs worldwide. In America, it's ASCAP BMI. So radio stations will pay a license fee for using these songs, and then that gets distributed amongst the songwriters. So it comes from the actual person that is hosting that song. If it's a live venue, the Albert Hall, for example, the Albert Hall would be paying PRS a license fee for playing the songs, and we'll be submitting lists of all of the songs that are performed at their venue. So it's the venue or the host of that song, if you like. So hope that one helps you, David. Oh, we've already answered that one. And I've been trying to go, okay. Okay, so very quick question just about the Academy. I've been trying to call the phone number, and every time it says that the number is not accessible. That would be a question for Tony Dennis. Tony, are you still on here? Do you think you could take Jason Simard's details and answer that for him, please? If there is a phone number that is not working, we should have a look at that. So thanks for making us aware of that. Second way, is there a way to get critiques online? We're looking at this at the moment, Jason. The people that do our critiques in the UK are people like Charlie and other working songwriters. So there is a fee for doing the full written critique or a full audio critique of a song. But we're very, very happy to look at bringing that option into the Academy. So we'll keep you informed about that, Jason. But in the meantime, if you could contact Tony Dennis. Oh, right, there we go. Tony's already put his details on there. Brilliant stuff. Thanks, Tony. Okay, let's have a question from Tony. Tony is the wonderful man behind the administration of the Songwriting Academy. He's absolutely brilliant and a lovely, lovely guy. And of course, we should answer his question. So Charlie, do you have a daily routine or schedule for writing music or even things that help you stay creative? Charlie, the final words are yours.
I don't have a routine. My routine varies wildly. That's just the animal I am. In terms of things to inspire me, I think it's all stuff that we Martin and I have covered, if not here, then often a lot before, which is listening to stuff we love. And if I'm feeling a bit jaded, I listen to stuff I love. That's it. I often wish I was better at having a routine, and certainly, and I don't advise this, but I know it's true, is that if you have a deadline will certainly make you put your schedule in order. So sometimes what I do is, to give myself a thoroughly good talking to, is I tell people that I'm going to have something finished. I broadcast it, so that then I feel foolish if I haven't done it. So because people go, oh, you said you were going to have that finished and you were going to play it to us. Because I'm not proud of it, but I am a terrible procrastinator. And all I can say is that I hope that the things that distract me also inform my songs. That's what I hope. It doesn't always work that way. And certainly, if you as a writer are having a problem, getting down to stuff, write yourself a little schedule, and read it and look in the mirror and go, look, you need to do this, and look yourself in the eye. I've actually done this to myself. And it's, in lieu of somebody else doing it, or your old headmistress coming round the corner with the cricket stump, it is a way of getting stuff done. And it's such a fragile thing. It's such a fragile thing. But inspiration doesn't always come through the window. You have to have the window open. Yeah. But you have to be sitting down by the window.
Yeah. I think that's great advice. Me too. I listen to loads and loads of new artists. I listen to Spotify like crazy and think, oh yeah, I'd love to do that kind of record, or yeah, that kind of topic is really, yeah, I feel the same way. And what would be my song that says that kind of thing? Just love being inspired by new people. And in terms of a routine, 7 o'clock every night, I open a bottle of Jack Daniels. By 11 o'clock, I'm in the studio. No, I don't. No, do you know what? It's like I grab the time where I can and try keeping me out of the studio. I love coming in here and making records. And so it's whenever I can get in here to do it. But like Charlie says, it doesn't always, even when you really think you're going to be on fire, it doesn't always happen that way. So the moment I feel too much resistance from the song to be written that day, I'll just set it to one side and start again. But I think with creativity, it's hard, as Charlie says, to have a fixed routine about it. Some people work really well that way. There's two people, Chin and Chapman, in the oh no, it wasn't Chin and Chapman. There's a friend of mine called Bill Padley, and he worked with gosh, I can't remember the name of his co-writer. They had a very long-standing co-write relationship. They went in the studio at 10 o'clock in the morning and they finished at 4, and they had that deadline to finish at 4. And if the song wasn't done by then, that was it. For them, it wasn't good enough. And so it got them onto this really solid writing routine. Works for some people. The only time it works for me is if I've got a co-write booked in, and it's like we're there to do a job. But working on my own, I just get the time when I can. So we should wrap up here. Oh, yes.
You chase it when you get a good one. You know what I mean? Because sometimes that bubble will pop and you won't get it back.
Sorry, what did you say? You went all Dalek-y.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. If you do get a good idea, chase it down, you know, because sometimes if you wait, the flavor of it will go. You'll just lose the essence of it. And it's something you can't define, but you're sort of in the mood, you know, and so I do think it's worth, you know, not washing up, not answering the door, leaving the telephone off while you get that little tiny little idea down.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely true. They just slip through your fingers, don't they, if you're not careful. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please do a massive show of hands for the wonderful Charlie Dore, who's taken time out of her day to join you guys. And put your hands up if you'd like Charlie to come back again. Me. Absolutely fantastic. Real inspiration. Just go listen to any of Charlie's songs. Milk Roulette is a wonderful album. Dark Matter is amazing as well. You will find some incredibly inspiring songs. We're going to have a mixture of mentors joining me next year on these Q&As, everything from the music business side of it through to the creative side of it, like Charlie. So tell everybody about it. Tell everybody about Songwriting Academy and why they should be part of this. We're creating, as you can see, we've got a global community of songwriters for you guys to be working with people right around the world and having the most amazing community to be part of, with no toxic people in it. We're all saying, yes, we can damn well do this. And yes, we can damn well do this. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you so much, Charlie Dore. Massive round of applause for Charlie, for all of you guys. Thank you very much.
Can I just say to you, Martin, and to everybody else, that I think you are lucky to have somebody like Martin, because there's very few people who've been working and in this side, you know, of purveying information to songwriters who've been doing it as long as Martin's done it, and who have such genuine enthusiasm and care for what he is telling you. You know, it is rare. There's lots of people who are good teachers, and they have passion. But Martin is really special, and he still does the job, you know, as a songwriter. So I think I take my hat off to him, and you know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful Christmas, Charlie. Have a wonderful Christmas, everybody. And looking forward to seeing you in January for the next live Q&A. Can't wait, and have an amazing Christmas. And keep those songs coming, everybody. Take care now. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.